What's going on, everybody? It's ZachMichael here, and today we're making a lo-fi melody from scratch. So if you guys do enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out LizardRecords.net. Let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Now, a lot of times when I start my lo-fi melodies, I like to actually start with either like some vinyl noise or some rain or some sort of sound effect I'm going to put in the background. It just kind of helps me picture what the melody is going to sound like in like the full context. So I'm just going to drag in this vinyl preset here, just like a little, like it's just vinyl from one of my lo-fi kits on my site. I just turn that down in the background because we're gonna have that kind of aesthetic, and I'm gonna slow it down. We'll start at 127, but we might even go significantly lower than that. We'll kind of see. And I'm gonna load up Omnisphere and just try to find like a nice sort of sound. I want something that is gonna be strummed really nice because I want to do big chords that are gonna strum. So it's really just a matter of trying to find that, like maybe a mallet or just something along those lines. I'm just gonna... This sound here actually could work with some more tweaking. And the tweaking is gonna be just adding a bunch of reverb, to be honest. There might be more processing, but we'll start with that just to keep it simple. So the first thing I'm going to do is select a key, and I like making a lot of my lo-fi stuff recently in E minor. So we're going to do that. And for anybody who doesn't know, as I'm, getting this up, I actually have two lo-fi artistries, which are on all platforms. So I have Relaxed Vibes, which puts out music, and that's like experimental lo-fi and instrumental stuff. Then I have another artistry called Sleeping Shark, which is like more ambient, kind of a bit more traditional lo-fi sounds. So both of those are out on all platforms if you want to check those out. I've done videos on the channel actually breaking down some of the music that I've made for those. And so here we just have some basic chords. I'm kind of happy with that progression. So what we're going to do is strum it. So you can just strum this and kind of play with it. Now, because I'm kind of going for something that has character, I want it to be very, like, dramatic, like that kind of strum. And then here at the end, I'm going to strum it myself, because I actually don't want it to be crazy strum. That, yep. So what we're going to do is randomize the velocities just to kind of give it more of a, like, a human feel, if that makes sense. So the next thing we're going to do is kind of chop this up. So a big thing I talk about, especially when you're trying to make simple melodies, is to use the notes in the chord to actually create your top line. Like you can establish rhythm through a chord. So what we're going to do is just like add these little cuts in the actual chords here. And these are like essentially melodies. They're passing notes. Then I'm going to have a different note come in over there and just change the velocities and just duplicate this. Just like that, we kind of have like the first sound within the actual melody. So the next thing I'm going to do after having like the main sort of sound there is I'm going to try to layer that with like a little pad. Now the reason I do this is because I want something to fill out the frequencies. And it's one of those sounds that you'll kind of feel more than you'll hear. And another reason that I'm liking pads as well is it kind of gives you the option to have some variation between like your verse and your hook of your instrumental. So we're just going to kind of have these chords here. I'm going to remove the top notes. It's more of a simple progression. This will just be in the background like that. You can barely even notice it's there, and that's kind of by design. Next thing I'm going to do, load up Arcade. There's a bunch of really sick stuff in Arcade you can use just to kind of add little top lines and whatnot. And you can do this with other plugins. But sometimes there's some really cool stuff in here. I just kind of like play around. It's just like that would kind of have like this cool sort of guitar. And I'm just gonna reverb that out like crazy. Kind of just EQ it a little differently to give it some character. Got that. And the last thing I'm gonna do is try to find one more sound that's gonna be very, very quiet, just a layer with that initial key, because I just want another sort of sound, another layer to it. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're just gonna open up my banks here. I'm gonna try to find like a bell or something like that. That works. Let me just turn off the echo. I want it to have an echo. What I do want though is the actual reverb to be the same. So what I do to do that, if you want to copy it over, you basically click this little arrow and there's a drop down and a bunch of things comes up, and one of them is save preset as. You click that and then drag it to the other mixer track. So that's how I got this to have the same reverb. And with this sound here, I'm gonna pitch it down. So it occupies those lower frequencies. Just like that, we have an incredible lo-fi melody. It's gonna work for exactly what I'm trying to do. It just sounds fire. It's got a lot of different sections, which is a big thing for lo-fi music specifically, because when you don't have necessarily like a vocal top line, or that's not a common thing, you want to be having different sections of the actual melody and of the production so it stays interesting the whole way through. Even though it is meant to be in the background, it's more chill most of the time, you still want to have some different layers and, you know, sections to it. So I like to have different things just so the arrangement can be kept interesting and dynamic. So I'm just going to kind of arrange this out the way I arrange like pretty much every one of my samples pretty normally. So what I do is in the beginning I have every single sound, then I have through here versions with the main melody and then 2 of the 3 sounds, then I have, you know, 1 main melody and then 1 of the main sounds, and then all the stems at the end. So if the producer that collaborates with me on this riff and myself wants to flip it differently or mix it differently, they can. They can remove certain sections, they can keep certain sections. And I don't put the vinyl into this as well, because maybe for some reason they don't want the vinyl, or they have their own, you know, effect they want to put underneath it or whatever. Well, that gives them the option to. But if you guys did enjoy today, me making a lo-fi melody from scratch, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and check out LizardRecords.net. Head on over to ElizabethRecords.net if you'd like to support me. You can purchase VST expansion banks, drum kits, loop kits, and MIDI kits that'll level up your production there.